Welcome to a new video, guys. I've been to the movie theater recently and there is one movie that blew me away. If you're familiar with this kind of lighting, you might know what I'm talking about. So today we're gonna make latest Christopher Nolan movie Tenet into a game. Let's roll the intro. And we got a new intro. As usual, my name is Ferdinando, but you can call me Ferdi. So before actually starting the development, I have to say this video is gonna be full of spoiler. If you guys haven't watched the movie, stop now. Don't watch this video. Go to the movie theater, watch the movie, and come back to this. If you're fine with the spoilers, let's just go ahead. Wanted to get a character with minimal feature as possible, especially because during the movie, the character doesn't have a name. They refer to him as the protagonist, and it's something I wanted to reflect in the game itself. I went online, did a little bit of research, and tried to find a really minimal low poly character. And thanks to Bracris, I found a beautiful character that he had in one of his tutorials. And I wanted to take a moment to thank Bracris and his team to the beautiful work they did over the years. Thank you very much, guys. I wouldn't be here as well with all the knowledge and all your support. If you guys don't know them, I'm gonna put that link in the description. One of the best Unity channels around, so thank you very much. Best of luck for the future. It was really easy to use this character as he had already a blend tree with tons of different poses, so in a couple clicks we had something really cool, moving supernatural. Big part of the movie revolves around time travel, but for kind of the first time on big screen, time travel is really depicted differently than all the other movies. It's not just like teleporting back in time, it's not just like Back to the Future. So for the first time, we actually invert ourselves and travel through time while time goes backwards. I know it sounds really confusing, but because it is. When you actually see the movie for the first time, your brain doesn't really know what is going forward and backwards and why you're seeing what you're actually looking at. The entire movie is a visual experience. You are like overloaded with tons of different information. That's the feeling I want to recreate into a game where you're actually gonna play as one character and reverse yourself in time and try to go back to the reverse point at the same time. How time travel works in the movie. So there is one machine that is being created by scientists in the future, and they found a way to reverse entropy of objects, and thanks to that are able to reverse the time of those objects. So basically they send back to our time this turnstile machine where you just like enter from one side and get out from the other side, but in reverse. Seems like you're going forward, the entire world is going backward. That's what I want to create, a turnstile machine that sends you back in time. Creating the code for the time reverse wasn't too hard. It was a matter of recording position and rotation of each object in time, and while activating the time reverse, each object will snap back to that position at that moment in time. I'm gonna post here the code for you guys, but it's not super clean and it's just gonna give you a rough idea of what I actually had done. One thing to know is that my game is different from the movie in the fact that in the game you cannot change your past, your action are already been defined. I'm gonna have a link in the description of the grandfather paradox that is quite important, but in my game I decided when you're reversing in time you can change the place of objects. I'm gonna end up this section with some really cool visualization. So basically I draw the position in time, in space of each object, and it's quite cool to see where they're actually going and how they're reversing back in time. You might have noticed that the changing color of the lighting quite a lot, and that's for a reason, because in the movie it's quite a big deal. Nolan wanted to use color to show the viewer when one object or person is moving 2 times forward with red and backwards with blue. So I'm gonna use the same idea and apply it to my character in the game. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create one character that's gonna be our red character moving forward, and when he enters the turnstile machine, is gonna reverse and start going backwards. The main objective of the game is gonna be going to your initial point at the same time, because that's gonna be another turnstile machine, and if you don't make it, you kind of break in time, and that's considered a bad thing in general. Here you can actually see what happened when you break time, and yeah, it doesn't look fun at all. To summarize everything, basically in the movie, if you have an inverted object, you're able to catch it by pretending you're dropping it. It's cool, isn't it? There is some interesting fact about the names used in the movie. A lot of them are based, or at least looks they are based on this Latin square. Latin square what? It's a word square. Word square. They're all palindromes, so you can read them both sides and they still work. So they're all related to some character in the movie. Sator being the evil guy, Arepo being the guy that does the painting, Tenet being the name of the movie itself, and Opera is the initial scene in Kiev. It's something I really wanted to have. I'm gonna retrace that and use it as the base floor for my game, kind of like giving you an even more sense that you're stuck in this infinite loop of forward and backwards. I jumped in Illustrator and I started retracing the word square. It wasn't too hard and mostly I had to choose a nice font. I wanted the base floor to have a lot of depth, so I didn't went for a normal map like I did in my Fall Guys video, link into the description, and I went for actual geometry, and it ended up looking quite nice. Jumped back into Cinema 4D and started creating the model for the turnstile machine. I had to decide which one because they show a couple of them in the movie, but I went for the one that we can see in the red and blue scene. That's also my favorite scene. I brought everything back into Unity and added a couple of animation. The basic setup was working with the red guy entering from one side and the blue guy going out from the other. I also activated the time switch while this was happening, so the basic game was actually there. We just had to implement a couple of different levels to make everything cool. I also added a couple of different UI to show you where you actually die and when you succeed the level, and on the top left corner I'm keeping track of the time. It's actually time to test the game, so I started creating a super basic level that would introduce the player to the logic of this game. It would definitely benefit from having a bit of tutorial to actually tell you what you need to do, as at this stage it's not super clear, but it's quite cool and you can actually finish your game. Quite fun thing, at the end I wanted to have the UI saying start, because technically you're going back in time and at that point you're starting. I also did some levels where you have more obstacles and the red guy needs to remove them for the blue guy to be able to go back to the time, and another one where you need to be really patient, otherwise the red guy is too fast and you're gonna die. The last level I created ended up being my favorite. It's not really a level, but it shows you the potential of a game like this, where I drop tons of different cubes and they just start going back in time at some point. So we really can play having different doors or stuff that could happen only at some moment, so you really need to plan your action. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna leave you with this Tenet lighting setup, and remember to like, comment and subscribe. Hit the bell button if you want to be notified when the next video is out. Probably is gonna be another challenge like this one where I try to mix different things into game development, and hope to see you soon, guys. If you're really bored before the next video, remember you can just watch this one in reverse.